Today we're going to be looking at Pear Deck with Google Meet. So this would be when you are presenting live in a Google Meet session with your students. And we're also going to be looking at some fun tools that Pear Deck has just recently added. One of them they just rolled out this week. My name is Larissa Pineda, and I'm an instructional services specialist with the Department of Innovation and Learner Engagement. And I'm joined by my colleague, Nadine Mugridge. Nadine, do you want to say hi?
Hi, good morning, everyone. We had the opportunity to meet earlier, and I'll be helping out in the chat. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them off for me there.
Great, thank you very much. And just a couple reminders, if you're just joining us, please open up a second tab and go to joinpd.com and type in the join code JEGMI. The join code for the Pear Deck will always be displayed right here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And then to sign in and access the presentation materials, please go to bit.ly/PD, capital PD, and lowercase and GM, capital GM. We're going to have a lot of tabs open today. So just to review the expectations for virtual PD, please remember that virtual PD is new to everybody. So remember to give yourself grace. Choose the learning method that works best for you. You can just sit back and watch today if you would like. You can actively participate by opening up additional windows and tabs and playing with the different tools as I'm discussing them. You can rewatch the recording later and try to explore on your own time. And please use the chat to ask questions. Just a reminder, our session is being recorded today so that you can view it at a later time. Before we begin, today's professional development is going to show you how to share a Pear Deck in Google Meets, and it's going to show you some cool tools that you can use within your Pear Deck. If you need support with getting the add-on or building a Pear Deck, please review the presentation from yesterday, which is linked right here. That has the Google and Pear Deck basics. So how to get the add-on, how to create a Pear Deck, and how to share it in a student-paced mode through your Google Classroom. All right, so first we're going to talk about launching your Pear Deck presentation so that you can show it in a Google Meet. The first thing you're going to want to do is open up your Google Slides and select the presentation that you want to share with your students that day. Then you will go to your add-ons, which remember we added the Pear Deck add-on yesterday. So you'll click on add-ons, go through your drop-down menu and select Pear Deck for Google Slide add-ons, and then open the Pear Deck add-on. That sidebar will pop up on the right-hand corner of your screen, and you'll press the green button to start the lesson. Remember, we're not going to use the regular present button. We want to use this green one in our Pear Deck add-on. This time we're going to choose instructor paced activity. So yesterday when I modeled the Google Classroom and the student paced, we selected this button. Today we're going to select instructor paced. because you will be leading the presentation in the Google Meet and your students will be participating at home. Then you want to open up a new window with your Google Meet. So you want one window that's running your Pear Deck, and then a second window that's running your Google Meet. And you can arrange them side by side on your computer. Then you're going to join the Meet, just like you would regularly. Okay. And please note this is just a screenshot. You don't need to join anything additional at this time. You're going to present your screen. So you'll go down to the present button that is in the bottom right-hand corner of your Google Meet. And you're going to select a window. Now, one thing that Google Meet did just this week, I believe, is they added another option to present from a tab. So you can select the window that your Pear Deck is running in, or you can select the tab. Okay. Please note though, if you select to present from a tab, it's only going to present that tab. So if you're toggling back and forth between tabs, your students are not going to see that and you're not going to be sharing that. So for my purposes, I selected a window and you would then choose the window or the tab that you want to present. And if at any time you would like me to demonstrate these or you have a question, please make sure you type it into the chat box so that Nadine and I can further assist you. Okay. And then your Pear Deck will start running. So here are a few helpful hints for teachers. You can split your screen like I demonstrated, or you can run your Pear Deck on a separate device such as your cell phone, iPad, or additional computer. So you could just have your Google Meet running on one computer and you could be operating your Pear Deck on another device. You need to instruct your students that they must have two tabs open, just like I instructed you at the beginning of this presentation. One to participate in the Pear Deck and another to participate in the Google Meet. So please make sure that those instructions are clear to your students. Some norms for students, some things you might want to remind them of is they need to follow the teacher's directions. They need to think about what they're presenting. So while you're giving them the opportunity to interact and to share their answers in the Pear Deck, they need to be cognizant and remember that their answers might be shared with the class. So they need to put their best work forward and not act silly and put something that might embarrass them if it would be shared with the rest of the class. Also, please remind your students that even if they're working on a separate Pear Deck tab, they're still on camera. So everyone else can still see them in the Google Meet, even if they're just looking at their Pear Deck. So they need to be mindful of their behavior and the way that they're acting. So these are a couple of ways that your students might interact with Pear Deck in a Google Meet. They can have the two different tabs open and toggle back and forth. This might be a little bit easier for some of our younger students. They can also do the side-by-side windows. Okay, so it's up to them how they want to interact, if they want to have the two separate tabs open and just go back and forth, or if they want to have the side-by-side windows. Right. So now I'm going to have you interact with some of the slides. So again, today we're simulating what students would experience in a Pear Deck that's shared through Google Meets. So if you did not already join our PD, please open up a separate tab and go to joinpd.com and use our join code that is displayed, which is JEGMI. So our first question, on your Pear Deck, I'd like you to draw a picture to show how you're feeling about distance learning. So please take a moment to answer this question on your individual Pear Deck. Now, as the teacher, I have my toolbar down here. I can see that currently 16 of my 38 students have responded. In just a moment, I'm going to click on this button to show the responses. If I wanted to lock the screens because maybe I wanted my students to stop what they were doing and wanted them to focus on what I was saying or what a classmate was saying, I could go ahead and lock their screens. So you might have gotten a message that your screen is locked. And then when I was ready for them to participate again, I can go ahead and unlock it. If I wanted to add another prompt, I could click the new prompt and that would put in an additional prompt for me. And then I would use end to end this session. So I'm going to go ahead and show some of the responses. Oh, I love this one. I can do it. Well, I'm happy to see that most people are, oh, I know. I'm sure that your kids miss you too. Oh. So you can go ahead and show the responses. As you can see in our live session right now, it's not showing any student names. So if you were doing this with your students and you clicked show responses, it would not put their names up. Mhm. Okay. You can change the layout. So you could display all of the responses at once. You could also stop presenting quickly and go into your teacher dashboard to look at some of them privately. And then when you're ready to go back to your presentation, you can click the hide responses. Yes, Jasmine, when you click show responses, so what I'm presenting right now is what your students will see. So students can see their classmates' responses when you project them. Great question. And then when you're ready to go back into the presentation, you would just hide the responses and then you can continue. So I wanted to start showing you some tools that you can use to enhance your presentation, um, both when you're doing a live session like we are now, or if you're doing a student-paced session where you have assigned it through their Google Classroom and they're working independently. So we talked a little bit yesterday about the template library. So when you launch your Pear Deck add-on, the template library is the first button that you'll see in that sidebar. And these are pre-made templates that you can drop into an existing slide deck. So if you click on the template library, it will open up this menu. So it has some built-in lesson builders that you can put in at the beginning of your lesson, during your lesson, or at the end of your lesson. So these are slides and questions that are already created that you can just add into an existing presentation. It has some questions you can put in for learning development. So it has some critical thinking pieces you can drop in, and it also has some social emotional learning questions. So these are great questions for checking in on students' well-being. Right now is a difficult time for everybody, and especially for our kids. So we want to make sure we're checking in on their social emotional learning. And I'm actually going to show you some of the questions that go along with that. And then if you scroll down further, they have templates by subject area and also by grade levels. So here are some of the social emotional questions you might see. And this is an interactive slide. It's telling students just to follow instructions. They don't have to physically do anything yet, but just come in, get calm, take some deep breaths. Okay. The next one is a stress check. So if you are following along with me at home and you're in our Join PD, you can drag and drop the icon. So take a minute to do that. How are you feeling today? Are you in a good space where you can focus? Is something bothering you, but you're still able to focus? Or maybe it's been a really rough day for you and you just can't manage right now. And for our demonstration purposes today, I'm going to go ahead and show the responses, show where everybody's at today. I might not do this if I was in an actual session with my students. I might open this up privately in my teacher dashboard to kind of see where students are, rather than projecting it for the whole class. Because if we did have students who were over here and they can't manage their emotions, we might not want to share that with everyone. It doesn't show individual student names, but that would just be something to be mindful of. Then I can hide my responses and go back to my presentation. So another type of question you could ask your students, and I really like this one, is to give a thank you to someone in your class. So this is a writing response one. So they might say, um, you know, thank you for asking a question about this, or thank you for asking how I was doing. So those are just a few of the social emotional questions that are in the template gallery that you can pop into your presentation just to check on your students' well-being. And I'll give you just a little bit more time to play with that. Okay, about 30 more seconds with this slide. And again, if I wanted to have my students focus on something that I was saying, I could go ahead and lock their screen and they would not be able to answer while I was speaking or while a classmate was speaking. And then I can go ahead and show the responses and share the feel goods from this morning. And then I can hide my responses and go back into my presentation. So another cool tool that I wanted to share with you today is Pear Audio, and this was just unveiled this week. So it is a very new tool, and it allows you to put audio into your Pear Deck. So this is great, especially for our distance learning right now. So to get the Pear Deck audio, you will have the Pear Deck open. So you'll have that add-on open. You'll go over to your sidebar. You'll scroll down. Add audio is right underneath the question choices, and you'll click Add Audio to Slide. This pop-up will appear. You can record something, or if you have an audio file that you want to upload, you can click Upload. And this little icon up here tells your students that audio is included. Okay? So they can click on that and they can listen to you. You'll go ahead and you will create your recording. When you're done, you're going to click Save, or maybe you were interrupted while you were making your presentation, or you lost your train of thought, so you can delete it right there. You can also resume if you wanted to add something else. So I'm happy with my presentation. I'm happy with what I recorded. I would go ahead and click Save, and I will get a new pop-up where it says Add Audio, and I will click the blue button that says Add Audio to Slide. You are able to listen first, so if you're happy with it, then click the blue button. If you're unhappy, click Delete, and you can re-record your message to students. So this is a really great tool for enhancing accessibility. We all know that our students are at varying levels in our classroom. So this is a great way to help your students who may be struggling readers or struggling with other tasks. It's also great for doing a social emotional check-in. You can record a little message to encourage your students, to let them know that they're doing a good job and that you're proud of them. And you can also read the directions to students. So lots of great ways that you can use the Pear Deck audio. In our resources section, I did link in a blog post which elaborates on these suggestions and also has a few more of how you could use this tool in your Pear Decks. I also wanted to share Pear Pop with you. So Pear Pop can be used kind of, well, it is, I shouldn't say kind of, it is an on-the-fly engagement activity. So maybe you're in a Google Meet or you're in your classroom with your students and you've been doing some type of other activity. You haven't necessarily been doing an entire Google presentation, an entire slide deck, but you want to ask some kind of reflective question or do a checking for understanding. You can do a pair pop. So pair pop can be accessed at peardeck.com. Just sign in with your RUSD credentials. And on the dashboard, when you sign in, you will see pair pop. It's one of the very first things on the dashboard. You would just click choose a prompt. And there's all kinds of different prompts. There are some for the beginning of class, during class, end of class. You would, and there's a whole nother section of just questions you can plug in. So there's quite a few pre-made templates. You just select the prompt that you want. So maybe I want my students to draw or type two things that they learned at the end of my lesson. I would just click on that and it would immediately throw up a slide for them with a join code so they could quickly get on their tablet or their phone or whatever device they're using and just answer that one question. So pair pops are great for focusing your students or checking for understanding without having to create an entire slide deck. So if you just wanted to do something quick to engage with your students and get some feedback on how they're doing with their learning, you could do a pair pop. And here's some of the resources that I mentioned earlier. Some great information on the adding audio to Pear Deck. Like I said, that is a brand new tool that they just came out with this week. So there's a blog post with some ideas for how to use audio in your lessons, how to add it, and a video for adding it to your Pear Decks. So lots of resources, and then some additional information on Pear Pop. Before I open it up for questions, I did want to remind everyone to please fill out the feedback survey. I forgot to, or didn't do a very good job reminding people of that yesterday. That if you have a chance, please use the bit.ly, which is bit.ly/capital P, capital D, and all lowercase. GM, and GM is capitalized, and click on the feedback. And we'll go ahead, Nadine and I will take questions at this time, or if you have anything that you would like for us to demonstrate, we can go ahead and use that, use this time to answer those questions. Nadine, were there any questions? Okay, I see a question from Pam. Her question is, so Pear Pop could be used as a quick check at the beginning of or end of the meeting. How would kids log on? So they would need to have some type of device. Obviously, they have a device if they're in the Google Meet with you. And when you put in the pair pop, it will bring up that login that we had at the beginning of our session today that shows them go to joinpd.com and has the join code, and then it just shows that one pear pop. Did that help answer your question, Pamela? Yes, so they would still need to join a PD and answer that question. Maria is asking, can Parapot be bookmark and kids just click a tab? I don't think the Pear Pop can be bookmarked. They could certainly bookmark the joinpd.com and then just type in the join code. But I don't think you can bookmark Pear Pop because that is something on the teacher end. Do you know any more about that, Nadine?
Yeah, so exactly as you said. So you can go ahead and bookmark the joinpd.com. So that's always there. And then what they would just do is put in the code that you provide. Part of the reason behind that is it's designed to keep the kids engaged. So if
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's already there and you wanted to direct their attention to it at that moment in time, because you're choosing the placement of that pop. If you want that pop in the beginning, the middle, or the end. So in order to keep them on their toes, so to speak, you want them to be able to have that pop up for them. It literally pops up on their screen
Mm-hmm.
saying join and then gives them the code. So then they would then take the code and log in that way. I hope that answers your question. And that should also go back to help answer Pamela, I think you also asked if it could be used in the beginning or the end. You can choose beginning, middle,
Mm-hmm.
end, and there's some suggestions of
Yes.
templates for what to use in the beginning, what to use in the middle, and what to use in the end.
And you can
Um,
also create your own pear pop.
and then there was another question that came in. Ruth is asking how you split your screen. So um, I know there was a screenshot in there, but Larissa, maybe if we did like a live demo on how to split the screen, that might be helpful.
Sure. Okay. Let me. All right, I'm going to stop presenting this. So a lot of splitting your screen is going to depend on what kind of device you're using, because PCs are a little bit different than Macs. So I'm going to demonstrate on, I'm trying to think of the best way to demonstrate this because my screen is already split. So let me try presenting my entire screen. So how I split mine, and this is on my PC, on my Mac, it's a little bit different. You grab the tab that you want to split or want to separate off. You click it and you pull it, at least on a PC, all the way over, and it creates a new window. Okay. So then you have your two windows side by side. On a Mac, for those of you who are using a Mac, up at the top you have the little red and green buttons. on on your tab, you hold down the green button and you drag that down in order to split your windows. Did that help or did I confuse you more?
There, I think they're responding right now.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for that,
Yes, thank you, Lay. You can also click the three dots and open a new window.
um, there are some additional questions.
Okay.
Glay is asking if you could embed a link in your slide to a Pear pop.
Hmm. So you're presenting your slides and then you would want to have a pair pop within the slide. I don't think that you can do that. Um, because it is, well, you know what? We can go ahead and we can try it.
And then while you're pulling that up, I can go ahead and answer Ruth's question about pre-made Spanish slides to use for
Okay.
DIY class. So with Pear Deck, all of their pre-made templates are in English. However, because it's an add-on that you're using for slides that you have already made, if you have existing slides that you just want to turn a slide deck that you have into an interactive slide, you would be able to turn your existing Google slide deck into an interactive slide and insert options then that would be editable, and you would be able to make those in Spanish. Does that answer your question, Ruth? Okay, so Pear Deck's an add-on to your Google Slides. So it's a premium feature that you're getting through our USD. So when you add it on in your slide deck, it's allowing you to take any existing slides that you have and making those interactive slides for your students. So if you currently have existing Spanish slides that you want to use, but you want to tweak them to make them interactive, Pear Deck will allow you to do that. If you're asking specifically about if there are any pre-made templates that are in Spanish, right now those are in English, but they are editable. So you can go in and edit it. So you can go in and say, okay, I like the way this slide looks. I want it in here, but I'm going to back out this text and I'm going to put in Spanish text instead. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I just copied and pasted a pair pop into one of our slides. So let's see what happens. Oops. Okay, so here's the pair pop, and it just takes us, yeah, it just takes us back to the Pear Deck app when we insert that. So it looks like that's something that you're going to have to do in real time. But if you wanted to do a pair pop in the student paced mode, it wouldn't necessarily be a pair pop. It would just be one of those templates to check for understanding. Any other questions?
And then some of them are similar. So the checking for understanding templates and the pair pops, so a lot of them are actually
Hmm.
duplicates.
Yeah.
So if you're like really in love with one and you were hoping that you can just have that embedded, it's probably available in the checking for understanding one, so
Hmm.
you could work around it.
Yeah.
I don't see any other questions coming through. Just want to kindly remind everybody to please go to the bit.ly and leave feedback.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us the last couple of days. I've been very impressed by the number of our teachers who are participating in professional development during this time and staying committed to their own learning and to building their teacher toolbox. I think it's awesome. And I'm just so proud of our district and our teachers. So thank you for taking time out of your day to participate with us, and we hope it was beneficial. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.